Have you ever wondered if someone doesn't like you but isn't saying it outright? It's an uncomfortable question, but one that everyone has pondered at some point. It's a curious aspect of human interactions, isn't it? We're complex creatures, and often our feelings are hidden beneath layers of politeness, societal norms, or simply our own insecurities. So how do we decipher the silent messages people send our way? The answer lies in the subtle art of reading nonverbal cues. These are the hidden signs of dislike that can often go unnoticed if one is not paying close attention. They are the unspoken words, the slight shifts in body language, the brief expressions that flash across someone's face when they think no one is watching. These are the signs that reveal what someone truly feels, beyond what they might verbally express. Think of it as a secret language, one that we all speak without realizing, and one that can provide valuable insights into our interpersonal relationships. Imagine being able to detect contempt, disgust, or fear in someone's microexpressions. These brief, involuntary facial expressions can say volumes about a person's feelings towards you. Dr. John Gottman, a renowned relationship expert, can predict divorce with 93% accuracy simply by detecting contempt in couples' interactions. But it's not just about facial expressions. There are other signs too, such as sudden arm crossing, limited eye contact, distancing behavior, or even nodding in disagreement. All these cues can indicate that someone may not be as fond of you as they claim to be. And while these signs can be influenced by various factors, such as anxiety or social norms, they often reveal more than what meets the eye. So what are these signs, and how can you spot them? Let's dive in. First off, we have the contempt microexpression, a subtle but telling sign of underlying dislike. Now, when we say contempt, we're talking about a feeling of scorn or disdain. It's a complex emotion that involves elements of disrespect, mockery, and even a sense of superiority. The fascinating part is Dr. John Gottman, a renowned psychologist, has spent decades studying these microexpressions. He found out that by simply detecting this particular expression, he could predict divorce with an impressive 93% accuracy. That's right, 93%, all from just a fleeting facial expression. Contempt microexpressions are quick, involuntary facial expressions that can slip through even when someone is trying to maintain a poker face. They're typically characterized by one side of the mouth being raised. This sign is particularly evident when you express an opinion that the other person does not agree with. So, keep an eye out for that slight smirk. It might be revealing more than you think. Next up is the disgust microexpression, a sign that someone may not be being entirely truthful with you. This microexpression is a brief and involuntary facial expression shown on the face of humans when they are around someone they find unappealing or are being dishonest. It's a flicker of distaste that comes and goes in a flash, often unnoticed by the untrained eye. The disgust microexpression is characterized by a wrinkled nose, narrowed eyes, and a slightly open mouth. This is the face we make when we encounter something unpleasant, like a foul odor or a disturbing sight. But it's not just limited to physical disgust. This microexpression often surfaces when someone is being insincere or not completely honest. It's a subconscious reaction, a telltale sign that something is not quite right. It's a red flag that the person you're interacting with might be hiding something or not telling the whole truth. Keep an eye out for this sign, especially when you suspect someone of dishonesty. Then there's the fear microexpression and the act of blocking. The fear microexpression is a fleeting display of anxiety or apprehension that our faces reveal, often when we're confronted with new information or news that takes us by surprise. This microexpression is characterized by widened eyes and eyebrows raised and drawn together, often accompanied by a slight retraction of the lips. It's important to remember that the presence of a fear microexpression doesn't necessarily mean that someone dislikes you. It might simply indicate that they're feeling uneasy or anxious about the situation at hand. However, if you notice this expression repeatedly in your interactions, it could signify discomfort or apprehension. Now, let's talk about blocking. This behavior is a nonverbal way of creating a barrier between oneself and another person or situation. It's often subconscious and can be as subtle as crossing arms, holding an object in front of the body, or even positioning a piece of furniture between oneself and another person. Blocking is a protective gesture. It's our body's way of shielding us from perceived threats or discomfort. So if someone suddenly crosses their arms or positions an object between you two during a conversation, it might be a sign that they're feeling uncomfortable or defensive. It's worth noting that these behaviors can also be influenced by factors unrelated to dislike, such as personal comfort or habitual body language. So while they can provide valuable clues about someone's feelings, they should be considered alongside other signs and within context. These signs are especially noticeable when confronted with new information or news. So the next time you're sharing something new or surprising with someone, keep an eye out for the fear microexpression and blocking behavior. They might just reveal more about the other person's feelings than their words do. Limited eye contact and distancing behavior are also key signs of dislike. Let's delve deeper into these two subtle yet revealing behaviors. Limited eye contact, for starters, can be a powerful indicator. When someone avoids meeting your gaze, it can often suggest discomfort or a lack of interest. However, it's essential to remember that many factors can influence eye contact. For instance, cultural norms, inherent shyness, or even conditions like anxiety can lead to reduced eye contact. Therefore, it's crucial not to jump to conclusions based solely on this behavior. Now let's talk about distancing behavior. This can take many forms, from leaning away during a conversation to physically pulling back when someone approaches. People tend to instinctively distance themselves from things or individuals they find unpleasant or threatening. So, if you notice someone consistently maintaining a certain distance from you, it could be a sign that they harbor feelings of dislike. But just like with eye contact, distancing behavior can also be influenced by a multitude of factors. Some people are naturally more reserved or value their personal space more than others. In certain cultures, maintaining a certain distance is a sign of respect. And of course, someone might simply be having a bad day and prefer to keep to themselves. It's also worth mentioning avoidance of physical contact. If someone seems to be consistently avoiding handshakes, hugs, or even casual touches, it could indicate discomfort or dislike. However, again, keep in mind that personal and cultural factors can greatly influence comfort levels with physical touch. In the end, it's about looking at the bigger picture. Limited eye contact or distancing behavior on their own might not mean much. But if these behaviors are consistent and accompanied by other signs we've discussed, there's a higher chance they could indicate dislike. Remember, while these signs can indicate dislike, they can also be influenced by other factors. So always approach these situations with understanding and empathy. Finally, there's the anger microexpression and the absence of mirroring. The anger microexpression is a fleeting, involuntary display of annoyance or irritation. It can be as subtle as a tightening of the jaw, a narrowing of the eyes, or a brief furrow of the brow. This microexpression often surfaces when someone is attempting to mask their true feelings, particularly when they assert that everything is fine. It's the body's way of letting out a bit of the steam it's been holding inside. Now let's delve into the concept of mirroring in body language. When we like someone and feel comfortable around them, we subconsciously mirror their gestures, postures, and expressions. It's a form of nonverbal communication that signals empathy and rapport. However, when there's an absence of mirroring, it can suggest a disconnect or a lack of affinity. Imagine you're in a conversation with someone and you lean forward, but the other person leans back. Or you cross your legs, but they keep their legs straight. These are instances of non-mirroring and can indicate that the person may not share your sentiments or enthusiasm. The absence of mirroring can also happen in facial expressions. If you're smiling and the other person remains stone-faced, or if you're serious and they're grinning, it can be a sign that they're not on the same emotional wavelength as you. It's important to remember, however, that body language can be complex and multi-layered, and it's not always a clear-cut indicator of someone's feelings. Cultural, personal, and situational factors can influence how someone expresses themselves physically. But as a rule of thumb, if you notice the anger microexpression coupled with a lack of mirroring, it's worth taking a closer look. It may be a signal that the person is not being completely honest about their feelings, or that they may harbor some form of dislike. These signs are particularly noticeable when someone claims everything is fine, but their body language suggests otherwise. So there you have it, the hidden signs that someone may not like you. We've explored the microexpressions that can reveal underlying emotions. Contempt, often seen when you express an opinion; disgust, particularly when dishonesty is suspected; and fear, usually evident when presented with new information. We've also delved into the subtle cues of blocking, such as sudden arm crossing or holding an object in front of the body, and the limited eye contact that may indicate discomfort or disinterest. The distancing behavior, like pulling back or avoiding physical contact, and the anger microexpression, particularly noticeable when someone claims everything is fine, were also discussed. And let's not forget the absence of mirroring, a key sign of rapport and liking. If someone's body language doesn't mirror yours, it might indicate dislike. Remember, while these signs can indicate dislike, they are not definitive proof. Always approach such situations with empathy and understanding.